Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and yeah, we are going to be getting into another Pokemon Presents. Well, last time it was mainly just the trailer for the new Scarlet Violet. This time we're going to get into the entire Pokemon Presents and see what it has in store. We're a few minutes past the hour of when it released, and yeah, I've decided that we're going to redirect this one. And the reasoning is I don't want to tempt fate. I put the other one on the channel without redirecting it, and ever since it's made me super anxious to the point where I've been debating whether or not to actually re-download it, cut it up, and then put it up on BitChute instead and re-put up the rest of it, like the thoughts part, as its own thing. It's made me so anxious, and it's like, again, I know nothing's happened to it, and other channels do reactions to these all the time, but I'm so anxious about getting another strike or whatnot, because it would really hurt the channel to get a strike, and on top of that, I don't even want a chance of anything happening to this channel after all the issues that happened before. So I think we're just going to play it safe, and while we're going to keep the other video up, we're not going to tempt fate with any others like that on here. We're going to redirect it. I still want to react to it, but we're going to redirect it. So last time we just got some new Pokemon showcased, a few new characters, got to meet the professors and everything, and we got our box art legendaries as well as a November release window, which that didn't surprise anyone. November's the usual release window. So this time I'm hoping to get information on the region. Like, we don't know what the region's called or anything. We don't know, like, how things are gonna go with this even. There's still a lot about this that we are waiting to find out. I'm not expecting necessarily to learn about starter evolutions or anything here, but I'm definitely wanting more info on just the general scale of things, like what's going to be the deal with the fact that this is an open world, and how's that going to affect gyms and everything, since there's not going to be as linear of a story. I'm still a little concerned about that, but we'll see how it goes. Because some of the risks that Pokemon has taken in the past, such as with Gen 7, have been pretty good. So we'll see how that goes. Because remember, that generation didn't even have gyms. It had the trials. So let's see what happens here. Of course, I'm expecting to see more new Pokemon. Maybe we'll learn about the gimmick of the region, like how Dynamaxing was the one for Gen 8. Maybe we'll learn about some regional variants. That would be cool. But no matter what, I'm just excited for learning more about these games. I believe I mentioned it last time. If I didn't, I'll just mention it again here. I'm obviously going to be playing this. I haven't decided which version yet, but I am going to be playing it. And I'm going to be like not doing that on the channel or anything because my Switch Lite cannot do that. Even if I could get a capture card, there aren't any, to my knowledge, at the moment for Switch Lites. You have to have a regular Switch. And either way, I think I'd rather just play it on my own time anyway. Just that way I can go through it as quickly as I want to without having to worry about that. So, yeah. But I'll definitely be making videos on it. There will obviously be a first impressions review and stuff like that. So, be prepared for some content to come from this still. But I want to do I've been doing these reactions to the trailers because this is exciting. It's the first it's the first Pokemon generation that I'm knowingly going to be able to get as it comes out in a long time. Like with Gen 8, I didn't know I was going to be getting my Switch. I ended up asking for my brother and sister and all of that to pool the money together to get one, and they did. But I did not know if they were actually going to. And for a lot of the advertising for the games, I didn't know, like, I really had no sense of whether or not I was going to be able to play this generation. Because Gen 7 was one I didn't get to play on my own. I ended up watching Let's Plays to that. Gen 8 was the first one I had played since Gen 6. So, going into this, knowing I'm going to be able to play it right from the beginning is exciting. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully, just like with Gen 7 and 8, it continues this renaissance that the games have been in terms of quality for me. Because after Gens 4, 5, and 6, it's definitely needed this revitalization, in my opinion. Not that Gens 4 through 6 were inherently bad, but in my opinion, they were notably worse than every other generation. So, it doesn't make them bad, it just makes them worse by comparison. I like to call them the dark ages of Pokemon. But either way, we're going to get on with this and see what this Pokemon Presents has in store for us. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the Pokemon Presents. And, yeah, I will be talking in depth more about everything that's revealed and seen. For now, though, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so we got quite a bit of new information. We kind of got our main focus of the games, like what the games are actually like mainly about. We don't have all the information, of course, but so the Paldea region. First off, I love the name. I actually really love the name for that. I think it really works. It sounds cool. I just wish we got a regional map, and maybe we'll get that coming soon, but either way. So the story is that you're a new student at a I guess high-end Pokemon school. They actually had names for the schools. I want to check those real quick. I'll I'll mute the video so it doesn't come up, but let me see here. I just have to try and find it. Paldea region. It like showed the names, so I want to see the names here. Okay, so in Pokemon Scarlet, there's Naranja Academy, which, you know, orange and all, and Violet has Uva Academy for grapes. People had already speculated and all that these were schools that we got a glimpse at in the other trailer, and we got our confirmation here. It is an academy. Apparently you're going to have like some interactions with teachers and stuff and other students. We get a few of our characters in here. And it seems like it's kind of going to be your kind of starting point to launching out. So are you not going to have like a home with like a mother character as you normally do? Are you going to be like, is your starting base going to be the academy? Or are you still going to have a home with a mother character as well? It didn't really tell us that. But that would definitely be different. Either way, your headmaster kind of puts you on this treasure hunt. Apparently, all around the region, there are these treasures, I guess, that you have to, well, hunt for. But there's other stories to this too. Apparently, there's different stories you can take on as you play the game. I think they said there were like 3 of them. So the treasure hunt's probably one of them. The other one is the gym mission. We see that there is a gym mission again, which quells a big fear I had. I was wondering about that, considering the entire aspect of, considering the entire aspect of the games being open world and everything. But we see there is a gym mission. Now, I am wondering how it is gone, how it goes. Because since it's open world and you can challenge the gyms in any order, how does that work? I would think there would have to be a system in play where where the gyms would actually change as you go through them. Like, you can't just go up to a gym, it's like, oh, your Pokemon are all level 20 or under, and this gym is all level 60 and above. It's like, no, you're not going to come across that, right? Because that wouldn't make sense. That would completely invalidate the idea of challenging them in any order. It would be basically impossible. Or at the very least, stupidly difficult. So I would imagine that the gyms have to be the levels and how many Pokemon the gym leaders and all use would have to be centered around how many badges you currently have. Like that determines, like, okay, so let's say you have 0 badges. So no matter what, the first gym that you go to has Pokemon like around what, level 10 to 12 or so. No matter what, that's what the Pokemon levels will be. But like, let's say you go to the same gym when you have 8 badges, so they're like what, level 50 to 60 or something like that. I don't know the exact how far it will end up going in terms of levels, but you get the idea. And the gym leader might have more Pokemon in that regard because you're later on in your journey. That would be the best way to handle it. And it would be a really interesting way to handle it, honestly. Because that way, like, there would be a bunch of different experiences people would have based on which gyms they want to go to at which points. We get to see an Ice-type gym leader and one of the new Pokemon in here. So that's interesting in that regard. We get just a bunch of different characters shown. I'm definitely waiting to see the fan art of all of them. And I'm very excited for some of these new Pokemon we saw. Like, we saw that squishy dog thing. Let me see if I can go through this and try to find some of them here. Actually, let's go through this and kind of like take it a step at a time and talk about it a step at a time. Okay, so I'm not going to show this on screen, but we're going to kind of go through this again and kind of analyze everything we see. So starting off in the trailer, we see some shots of like the areas in the Paldea region. We got like all these sprawling scenery shots. Definitely a lot of beauty in that. There's shots that show these pop-up Pokemon centers that we saw last time, and we still didn't get any information on those, so not really anything there. We see a shot of a town that has like this Sunflora statue in a pot, and that's funny and cute. I like that. We get a bigger town, it looks like, that has like this alley of shops and stuff. Then we have what looks like a smaller village or something with what could be the lab. It shows your character, I think that's your character, running along the pathway. There's other characters around, and in the back there's like a bigger building. But it doesn't look like the academy. So I'm thinking that could possibly be a Pokemon lab, where Turo or Sada are. We have some more shots, some more impressive looking buildings. Okay, and so it starts out after that with setting out on the back of the legendary Pokemon. So the way they say it, the way they word everything, it makes it sound like you're going to have this from early on in the game, which is very different. Because it looks like this is, at least not from as late as legendaries usually are. Because it looks like these Pokemon might encompass flying in them, as well as the bikes. So it may not be the beginning of the game, it might be more like the middle, but definitely like earlier on than you would think. Hell, it might just be one of the 3 different stories that you get involved with, so technically you probably could get them very early. But we had their names before, Koraidon and Miraidon, representing the past and the future. We get to see kind of their, I guess you could call them bike forms, and I will say, both of them look drastically better in bike form. In their initial their initial presentations and all, as we saw in the last trailer, I did not like the way Koraidon looked. Honestly, it looked goofy, and not in a good way. Like Fuecoco looks goofy in a good way. That goofy little shit is still my first choice for starters. But Koraidon looked goofy in a bad way. But in bike form, it actually looks pretty good. In fact, it looks really good. And Miraidon always looked better, and it still does. The entire bike thing in the first place is still fucking weird. Let's be honest, it is. But it's not as bad, because ride Pokemon have existed. We've already had ride Pokemon before, so that's not as big a deal. So we see it's kind of the same thing. We can pop them up at any time. It shows like Koraidon popping up as if you've like summoned them, basically. Same with Miraidon. And yeah, you can ride them in their bike form. Oh, they also go across water. There's that. And they fly. So it seems like they're a major form of travel in this open world. You also see at one point Miraidon jump off a cliff and go into glider form, I guess you could call it. So yeah, it seems like this is going to be like our main source of travel. Like, for example, if you were to compare to Breath of the Wild, in Breath of the Wild you had your horse. That was your main faster source of travel along the region. Though you could end up getting the Master Cycle too. So there is that. But it kind of seems like it's that same kind of idea. Which does make me wonder exactly how soon in the game you get it. So then we have the Academy shown and everything. Now, I've been trying to decide my which game I'm going to get based off of the things we've seen so far. Because the game differences that we've had have basically been the gym leaders, but now we get like a little bit more in this, or not the gym leaders, the professors, And I was leaning towards Scarlet already because honestly, um, just personally, I'm more into Professor Sada than Professor Turo. Like Professor Turo, it's like I don't mind him. I have nothing against him, but it's like the entire Giga Chad meme and everything. It's just like it's not my type. He pun intended, I guess. Actually, I'll just say unintended there. But yeah, obviously everyone's comparing his appearance to the Giga Chad meme. His look is not as much my type. He's not as much just, and I'm not even talking like my interest in his physical appearance or anything. Um, in terms of like a Pokemon Professor character, he seems a little too serious. Now I don't know if that's what his character is going to be like, but he seems a lot more serious, while Sada seems like she's going to be a lot more fun. Just based off the little we've gotten. Mind you, that could be wrong. And I understand judging people by appearances is wrong, but these are also video game characters. They're not actually people, to be fair. But here we also got our schools. We don't find out like any notable differences between Naranja Academy and Uva Academy, but I am also a nerd, and Naranja Academy just makes me think of Narancia Girga from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure of Vento Arreo. Narancia is my favorite JoJo character, period. And yes, I know Narancia was already named after oranges and stuff. Um, so that doesn't surprise me or anything necessarily. Um, but because I'm a nerd and because Narancia is my favorite JoJo character, that does lead me even more into Scarlet territory. So right now, I'm thinking I'm going to end up getting Scarlet, because between the professor and now the academy names, it's like it's dumb reasons. Let's be honest, but hey, I've chosen things for less. If I'm being honest here. So we see a little bit, some shots inside the academy. We see some Pokemon we've seen before, like Poltegeist and Psyduck. We see some like shots that look like they're taking place during a lecture. I wonder if that's going to have any, like, if we're actually going to go to lectures or anything. Probably not. Probably that'll be like we see Pokemon schools in other games where it's just going to be like, oh, you can maybe sit in on like a little 2-minute information thing, talk to the people in the room and stuff, but it's not going to be like actually like this big thing. So yeah, it looks like the treasure hunt is an independent study assignment. It's being touted as, so that's interesting. But then we see like there's 3 different missions, and it only really mentions what one of them is, the gym battles. And Nimona here is saying you have to prove yourself to the Pokemon League, officially get the title of champion. Typical stuff. And I like that. And they even say in the trailer, it's like everything you love about Pokemon is still here. But we're also evolving it, haha, in order to update it. So it's still Pokemon as we know it. But they're also updating it and changing it in ways that keep it relevant and new and fresh. That's what I want. That is what I like to see. That is what I think Pokemon should do. We have a shot of another town here with one of those Pokemon Center stops right in front of it. This town looks a little more rustic maybe, but it does have a bigger building at one point. So it's hard to say. But yeah, we see these like Pokemon stops all over. We see like this tower, or actually we see a couple towers here. So that might have to do with one of the missions. Hell, those might be gyms. Because at this point it's talking about gyms, and we cut to this guy saying, "Welcome to the Glaciado Gym." So I guess that's the ice one, where we meet Grusha, one of the gym leaders, who is wearing this oversized scarf, and I love them. And it's just like, oh my god. I don't know what it is about ridiculously oversized scarves covering half of the face, but it is so fucking cute. it has always been super fucking cute, no matter what it's in. But Grusha's here, and it's like, I love the design just in general, even outside of the scarf. It's like, you got the, like, chilling blue hair, and you got, like, this... The coat kind of reminds me of Bear Tick. I assume that's on purpose. During the gym battle, you're, like, in this small arena, and it looks like you're surrounded by, like, some cheering fans, like, directly right by you two, so that's interesting. And we get a look at one of our new Pokemon here, which looks like this ice golem thing, which is interesting. Satitan, that's what it was called. Yeah. So we see a little bit of that. We see what looks like a desert area, a grassy plain. And then there's like some kind of like weird like motor vehicle with like all these lights and bells and whistles on it. It's like it shows it for a brief second. It's like, the fuck is that? But it only shows it for a brief second. There's this part where you're on top of a tower overlooking the region. And then it goes into the characters. So we see our professors again. And yeah, it kind of gives me these vibes when it shows them like saying hi. Turo has this more serious look on his face while he's waving hi to you, while or bye maybe, I don't know. But Sada is like smiling and has like her eyes are like closed to where it's like, you know, has the slanted eyelid look and everything. She looks like she has a lot more energy from that interaction there. So we get to see a little more of them, but we also are introduced to Clavel. Clavel is the headmaster of your school. Again, no matter which one you choose. He's this older guy, has a little goatee and everything, a fancy suit. I have no issue with his design. Nothing special for me, but I have no issue with it. I wonder how big of a role he's going to play. We meet your teacher, Jacques, who's apparently your homeroom teacher in biology. So that's interesting, Pokemon biology class. Jacques looks like an anime protagonist with glasses added on. It's like, oh, these glasses will hide my anime protagonist status. They look like kind of nerdy glasses. And then he has like this very stereotypical anime protagonist hair. Like, let's be honest. But he's wearing like this big hoodie and stuff as well. We've seen Nimona before, but she's shown off again. There's this upperclassman named Arvin who seems intense based on the clips they use, but apparently he's also a really good cook, so that's interesting. What is the food going to be in this region? In Galar, we had curry, so what's it going to be this time? And then we get Penny, who's one of your fellow students and has this giant Eevee backpack, and they are just super fucking cute. Like, I love the red and blue hair. That's really fun. The big glasses, the big oversized hoodie and stuff. It's like, they are just really fucking cute. Like, a really adorable design. We see our gym leader a little more here. Grusha. And a few other characters here. Let's kind of go through them real quick. Hold on, I went too far back there. There's Penny again. Here's Grusha. Okay, it doesn't tell us who these other characters are, though. There's this big buff-looking dude with a handlebar mustache wearing like a dress shirt and suspenders. It's unclear where he's supposed to be, but it almost looks like it might be the school, so maybe he's another teacher. Then there's this girl who has very notable hair. Like, she has, like, the hair hanging down off to the side in front of her chest and everything, but then she also has, like, some puffed and spiked up like that. She's wearing a dark outfit and all, and again, it's unclear, like, who she is or, like, what her role is. Then you have what might be a trainer class. You have this like woman in a fancy white dress with some gold designs on it. She has a bob cut and, you know, a bunch of makeup on. She might be like a beauty, perhaps. You see another trainer who's wearing a dress shirt, tie, and suspenders, mid-length hair. Again, might be another trainer class. But then we get into the new Pokemon. It first shows some wide shots of like a bunch of different Pokemon just hanging around. And then we get our first regional variant, the Paldean Wooper, which apparently is part poison type. As we find out, it coats itself in poison. The little like ear stalk things are a little different than a regular Wooper, you can see. And obviously the coat is brown instead of blue. I thought it was just like, when I first saw it, like for a second, I thought it was like just a Wooper covered in mud or something, because it's like that would definitely fit. But no, it's actually Paldean form. The markings on its stomach might be a little different too. I'd have to compare it with a regular Wooper. But yeah, that's really interesting. We got our first regional form, and it's Wooper, which I wonder if that means there's going to be a Paldean Quagsire too. Because you know Tom Fawkes will lose his shit if there is a Paldean Quagsire. Quagsire is his favorite Pokemon. You know he will lose his shit. That will be a big deal for him. But yeah, I have no issue with the idea. They look cute. They look like Wooper and everything. We have this little fluffy dog thing named Fido, which it's like, oh my god, it's like dough. It's like bread dough. And this has to be based off of like those little dog-shaped breads you see in some like shops on like online and stuff. Like, have you seen those, like scrolling through like Twitter or Facebook or something, and you see like a pic of like all these fancy looking breads at like different shops and all, and some of them are shaped like dogs? That has to be based off of that, because I've seen that so many times. But Fido is fucking adorable. Definitely our new dog of the region. We tend to have those. We had Yamper and Boltund last generation, for example, which ended up, Yamper and Boltund were actually really good. Like, not even just for early game or stuff. They ended up just being really good Pokemon, and I used my Boltund for the vast majority of the game. But Fido is really fucking cute. We didn't get a typing for these Pokemon, but we'll see their full types later. Once Pokemon's Twitter updates with more information. We see Satitan again, and yeah, it's just this like giant ice golem thing. It reintroduces us to the starters after that: Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Quaxley. Doesn't really give us any new information on them, though. It shows some more Pokemon that we've seen before. Just catching and trading animations and stuff. It gives us a look at the Pokédex, and it looks a little different than it used to. It talks about multiplayer then. And I'm not into the multiplayer thing. Like, a main Pokemon game, I feel, I enjoy it as a single player story. If you want to join in with multiplayer stuff for like raid battles and stuff, that's fine. I have no issue with that. Or even post-game content. But like main game content, I feel should be single player. But then we learn about the terrestrial phenomenon. So this is our new regional phenomenon or gimmick. Every generation has a regional gimmick at this point. And apparently in the chat on the stream for this, the premiere, the chat, there were some people saying like, all I wanted was Mega Evolution back. And then someone's like, Megas aren't coming back for a while, I'm assuming. And then another guy's like, Megas are never coming back. Stop being like dumb. It's like it's hilarious that there are still some weird people out there who, one, like Mega Evolutions, like acting as if that wasn't one of the worst gimmicks we've had, and two, want them back. It's like most people pretty heavily agree that Mega Evolution should not come back. that should definitely be left in the past. So it's weird that there's some people who are saying otherwise. But yeah, this apparently it seems to work kind of like that or Z moves, where during a battle you can uh, terastalize, and it increases your attack and everything. It increases your stats and your power and all, but it can also change your types apparently based on your Terra type. So apparently, like you could be using like a water type Pokemon, but then turn them electric or something. And this could be a new way to get around the entire thing about typings. This could add a new layer to type battles. Like if you're facing an ice type, you could bring in a dragon type and not be necessarily as worried because you can terastalize and turn them into something else. If they have like a fire Terra type, that could actually help you out. Because if your dragon has a fire move, it would give them stab, as well as just a better chance in that regard to not be affected by the ice attacks. So that could add a really interesting take onto battle. Now, when you use it, it looks like the Pokeball you're using crystallizes. You throw it at the Pokemon, and then they also crystallize. The crystallizing of the Pokemon itself looks fine. It's nothing special. But then they get like this headdress, like I don't know what it reminds me of, but it's like this funny little headdress that just pops out of their head. Like there's this candelabra on Fuecoco here and all, and Sprigatito had like flowers. Quaxley has a fountain, and it's like I guess different based on different typings and whatnot. But yeah, it seems to mostly just be a boost. There might be more to it, but we just don't know at the moment. But like you can like get flying Pikachu this way. It gives you the balloons, and it's like yeah, the Pokemon can have different Terra types that affect what type they end up being when they terastalize. So that's really interesting. And it's like that's something that like your Pokemon can have different versions of. Like an Eevee you catch can be any Terra type, and some might be more rare than others. So there's that aspect of things. It doesn't seem like the worst gimmick that we've had, but not necessarily the best either. I don't know. We'll have to wait to see. But it talks about raid battles next, and we see that apparently you can just act as you go. There's no turn order or waiting. You can just act. So like everybody can basically be attacking at once. And it's like that's definitely different than the raid battles in Gen 8, and I'm wondering how that's going to come into play. Does it not matter then who gets the final blow? Does that just not matter here? And how does the raid Pokemon choose who to attack at any given time? I'm genuinely curious about that. We get some more wide shots of the world. There's one shot in there where, let me try to go back to it, because I just passed it by real quick. Okay, so we get some wide shots of the different towns and locations, but in there's a shot of you and another character. It might be that upperclassman character looking at this glowing flower, and it looks like that might be a cutscene shot, because that wasn't a scenery shot or anything like most of these others are. We see some battle shots in here, some more terastalizing. Various shots of the characters throwing their Pokeballs, of the legendaries transforming between forms. Stuff like that. It gives us our look into the game. And there's still a lot of questions. There's still a lot of things I'm wondering about. But it's not going to be able to answer everything. Now, the question is, will we have at least one more Pokemon Presents or whatnot before the release? because there's still a lot of information we don't have. So I'm just wondering if there's going to be at least one more. We have 3 months until the release, so it's possible. It's been 2 months since the last trailer, so it's just hard to say at this point. But either way, I really like the information we got here. I think it was very helpful. And before we end this off, I am going to check the Twitter here real quick. See if maybe they like updated it with any kind of like further information on any of the Pokemon or characters or anything. The trailer is on here. Okay, there's a video about the terrestrial phenomenon. Shine and glimmer like gems. Nothing else at the moment. Yeah, usually the Pokemon Twitter throughout the day will like post information on like on the new Pokemon that were introduced, the new characters that were introduced. Not usually like a shit ton of information, but some definite new stuff. Either way, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this new trailer for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? So, right now, I'm leaning towards Scarlet, and I'm leaning towards Fuecoco as my starter. That could change, but that's my choice at the moment. We'll see how it pans out. But let me know, what ones are you leaning towards? What game, what starter? Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of the new characters shown, the new Pokemon, the new information about the Paldea region? Let me know your thoughts on all of that and more down in the comments below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.